What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today is an absolutely massive day if you enjoy Splitgate 2. We are getting ranked, a progression grind, a brand new map, and many more things when it comes to fixes within Splitgate 2. But before we actually dive into that, and again, if you do want to see my live impressions of the season, tune to the stream today. We're going to be live over on Twitch, starting at around probably 11 a.m. Eastern time. And we're going to be hitting it up for a decent amount of time so we can, critique and also come up with more video topics. But for today, I want to discuss first and foremost the progression system, since they released a video about that, and also a little bit of a dev call that they had the other day, where the CEO and the community manager went ahead and had a little bit of a discussion on what is going on right now, why they made certain changes within Splitgate 2, and what to expect in the future. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I love that. I gotta be real. Again, I know people hate that I am all over these devs, but I'm over them for a reason. You know what I'm saying? They communicate with us. They interact with us. And they take our feedback to heart. They actually change things that the community wants to see change. So we're going to go ahead and dive on deep. Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, let's hop into the progression grind when it comes to camos. These are looking juicy. And I gotta be honest with you guys. Carbon looks ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. Proelium, which is, I guess, how you pronounce it. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but that camo looks dope. Although I will say, I feel like the final camo, Proelium, should have a little bit more of that purple on the back end pushed towards the front. I personally think that would look really crazy, but again, I can't really tell until it's in my hands, but just from the images that they have showcased. And I think that would be really dope. But regardless, I am liking them all, ladies and gentlemen. And honestly, the grind sounds pretty juicy. Basically, to start off Carbon, you have to go ahead and complete them, obviously rank them up to level 10, and then you start the Carbon grind by doing some challenges, and every single, set of weapons, whether they're ARs, carbines, bursts, will have their own set of challenges, of course, and then obviously you get to progress to gold, you do a bunch of them from gold, and then you can finally go ahead and get Proelium, and, finish off the rest of the camo grind. And the best part about this is that this is not the frickin' end, ladies and gentlemen. They have plans to go ahead and expand on this system for years. Yes, you heard that correctly. Not like one more time. No. Years worth of progression can go ahead and be pushed into this progression grind. And I really like that. I think that is absolutely outstanding. And they did state that this was supposed to be at the launch of the game. But of course, due to the beta and a lot of the issues that, arose, which I think a lot of us saw, especially going into the full launch of the game, they had to go ahead and hunker down and start prioritizing a lot of different things. But I'll personally say, I don't think it took that long, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. Yeah, it might be rough for the beginning crowd who, really relies on it heavily, and they first load into the game and they don't see it. But I think this will definitely bring a handful of players back into the experience, and I'm really excited to, go ahead and start this bad boy off. And the second biggest part of this update, and don't worry, again, there's tons of other things to go ahead and discuss, but the second biggest, part of this overall update here is a ranked and progression. And ranked is looking really solid as well. And the developers described it as more like a Halo 2 style rank system, which I think is honestly hilarious because the Jack of all trades has mentioned this 1,000 times in the past. I've heard him say it so many times in the past whenever it comes down to, a rank discussion. So I'm assuming he's probably really happy about this one. But I'm excited. It's very simple. You win, you go up, you lose, you go down. And yeah, they kind of track how you do a little bit, performance-wise. So if you lose but you're doing extremely well, they might, put that into the equation, but it's not going to be like you're gaining any, reputation for going ahead and losing still. Even if you went ahead and did great, they'll make it so you don't lose as many points maybe as the rest of your team if your team did really bad. But it's very simple. You'll win, you go up, you lose, you go down. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit that top 100, but I'll definitely go ahead and give it a shot myself personally. But there are going to be some demons in those top ranks. I can promise you that. So if you're feeling pretty confident, give it a shot, but definitely, be wary that it's going to be a pretty thick learning curve. But let's go ahead and discuss a few other things that, the devs talked about in their new Dev Talk, episodes that they're hosting over on YouTube. And again, I hope they keep doing this. I know I stated this before, and I'm probably going to state it by the end of this video again, but please don't stop doing these. I love when the developers have these little sit-down talks and we can understand why they do certain things and, what's coming up other certain plans, so on and so forth. It's just absolutely phenomenal, and I have some really juicy details in here for you guys. But first and foremost, I do want to talk about their changes to Sabrask, because me personally, I did believe that was a pretty juicy change, but for the better, in my personal opinion. And I think they're kind of on the same page. Sabrask, that faction has always been a mixed bag. And the funniest part about it is that the pick rate for Sabrask and Alpha and Beta were pretty rough, and I'm assuming that with full launch, it just got better and better and better as more people started to witness how good this faction actually is. But maybe not, because the CEO did describe that the Sabrask faction, from the way that they saw it, and, I guess from stats as well, when you're more so in a, casual environment, I suppose, and it's just playing with a bunch of people who are just picking it up, going ahead and playing, the shield isn't like, the most picked. But when it comes down to a more competitive level and you're getting to the, upper ranks and you're versing really good players, it becomes overly abused. And indeed, me, myself personally, I love to abuse it as well. So I'm kind of happy with the changes. They said maybe, things might come in the future. It depends on community feedback. Maybe they'll adjust the health, so on and so forth. Nothing's confirmed, but we're going to see how the community, takes these changes going weeks forward. Personally, I think if they do go ahead and nerf it any further, I think the only thing that should be done, I don't think the health should really be messed around with, because if you do have like 3-4 people shooting at it at once, it goes down so quickly. So I don't think it necessarily needs that. It's just really obnoxious in 1v1 engagements, because it's still pretty much an easy 1v1 gimme every single time around, as long as, you think about it. I think they should just go ahead and increase the amount of time it takes, animation-wise, to put the shield down. That way it's still useful. If you're planning on using it, you're going into the OBJ, and you're ready to hunker down, then you put it down. It's not going to really interfere. But in a 1v1 engagement, I feel like the deployment speed is just really freaking fast on that thing, to the point where, like I said, you get shot a couple of times, bam, instantly plop it down while you're still shooting your gun and, engaging. So one of two things, I think. Either make the deployment speed longer, so it takes, more time to put it down in front of you, or just don't allow us to go ahead and engage while we're putting the shield down. Next up here is a topic that I'm actually extremely excited to go ahead and discuss with you guys. We're going to be talking about some maps and also events, but let's go ahead and start off with a ranked takedown. Of course, we already know it's not going to be coming right now, but I do believe it's going to be planned for the future, along with a BR as well. I think we're going to be getting ranked BR, and we have no clue what else, but I do believe those modes should be coming at some point in time. But talking about Takedown here, we are going to be getting a brand new map here with Chapter 2, again, for Takedown. And it's going to be called Simulation Anomaly. And from what I hear right now from the developers, this is going to be one of the most hectic of the takedown maps. I know a lot of people love that style. They love, a massive amount of portal variety. So this map is apparently going to be really cool, and it's also going to come with a lot of verticality. Once again, another complaint that I've heard a ton within this community, so I'm glad that, again, they're taking community feedback pretty heavily. I also want to say, I hope this isn't the only map that's given to us with Chapter 2. I'm hoping that, they're just adding this on top of an arena map, 4v4 or 8v8. That is going to be more so connected with the Meridian faction, because, if you guys remember back to what the developer said, they said every single chapter is based off of these factions here that we have: Meridian, Arrows, and the Sabrask faction, which again, they take place on multiple different planets, so on and so forth. And I was really hoping we could dive deep into some more Meridian style, maps. So hopefully the simulation map isn't going to be the only one here, and we could still expand on that concept, slash idea. But I do want to talk about the event map here, because this is going to be really juicy, and I think you guys are going to love this news. We are indeed going to be having a 4th of July event, and they're going to be going ahead and reworking Bypass a little bit to fit this theme. Now, I do want to say, from what I hear, the Foo Bar is going to be having a little bit of a makeover to fit 4th of July, so I'm excited to, go ahead and play around with that. But they are actually not only going to be adding a reskin for 4th of July, they're going to be going ahead and messing around with a bunch of more portal placements. Again, one of the biggest complaints within this community right now is that there's not enough portals. Although I honestly really like the balance they have. If you see a good player portal around the 4v4 maps, you can see 1010%. You can triple portal basically around every map at lightning speeds, like it's nobody else's business. So it's just not as, I guess, entry friendly, where you could just literally look everywhere around you and find portals. But people do want more portal placement, so they're actually going to go ahead and do this. Now, again, not for all the maps, and I'm assuming it's not going to be on the base version of Bypass, but for the event version, they're going to be adding way more portal placements. So again, give your feedback. Let them know if you like this, because they're doing this to test if the community likes this or not. Not just because it's 4th of July. No, nothing to do with that. They are doing this because they want to see if the community likes this or if they hate this. So be vocal. Make sure you share your opinions and let the developers know what you think of this when you finally get time to go ahead and play it on, again, the 4th of July. The devs also went ahead and talked a little bit about the BR experience. First and foremost, they are very happy with the new changes to where if you kill an enemy on a team, you don't get permanent wall hacks. And I agree. I think only having the minimap is much better. And it also, kind of creates a little bit more of an advantage for you to get the heck out of there and try to help out your squad. There were way too many instances where, again, one teammate dies and now you have 4 people hounding you. They all see exactly where you are and they're going to go right to your location and destroy you. It was a nightmare. So I think this change is much needed. They also went ahead and talked about the performance, saying it's going to be improved significantly. And also, I think it was something with the lighting that they changed around to help with the performance issues, which was causing a lot of problems for them. But again, if you guys want to hear further details, I'll leave a link to that overall YouTube video down in the description of this video. And they also went ahead and added in a last man standing voice cue for when you are the last man standing. Thank the heavens. Gosh. You see, that was always the hardest part as well. Because, again, the BR isn't like your typical BR. It plays more like Takedown, where, if you're the last man standing, you have to think a little bit. You can't just push out and go engage unless you know you can get an engagement. So you can go ahead and quicken up the pace for your team to come back in. But if you don't know if you're last man standing, you're going to be charging out there, getting killed in 5 seconds, it was rough. So to hear that there's a last man standing voice over coming in is going to be nice as well. But overall, great video from the developers. I really love this type of communication and how they handle feedback. And I'm very excited for the future of this game. I cannot wait to see what they continue to add. I can't wait to see this progression system, go on from this point here. And the developers also made it very clear to say that they want more feedback. They want you guys to come out and keep telling them what's going on, what you're not liking, what you want to see improved. Just keep pouring it out. And from what I can tell, the Reddit board is changing significantly. You're not seeing Steam charts every single day of player numbers. You're actually seeing real issues hitting the top charts. I love this. Absolutely love to see it. We're getting true constructive criticism, and I hope the community continues to push in this direction, because this is what we need to help make Splitgate 2 grow. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post here daily at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. And of course, if you guys are interested in my live streams, don't forget I'll be live today checking out the brand new chapter with all this content. So if you guys want to hang on out with me, I'm going to be live at around probably 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and we'll be going for like 6-7 hours. So you guys got plenty of time to go ahead and hop on in. But of course, if you guys are interested, go link that channel down in the description of this video. As always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.